Oh, thus be it ever when freemen shall stand between their loved home and war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace may the heaven-rescued land praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation. Then conquer we must, when our cause it is just, and this be our motto, in God is our trust.
Amen.
And the star-spangled banner in triumph shall wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Amen and amen.
Welcome, Kevin. Welcome, guests.
Hello,
our
Matt.
New listeners to the Headspace and Tasting Podcast. We have been tasting already. So it is the second to last weekend in January. Is that correct?
This is the last weekend of January
2025. And what I just read to you is the last paragraph, or what would they call it? Stanza of
not Costanza.
Of the complete version of the Star-Spangled Banner by Francis Scott Key. And what motivated us to do this reading is the conversation we had earlier this week during the inauguration of our new president.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess he's not a new president.
No, he's president number 47.
47. We watched the inauguration, and we just kind of looked at each other like, this is really the greatest country on earth.
Amen.
And so that's what we titled this episode, The Greatest Country on Earth, because there's no disputing it.
And we're not talking politics, and we're not talking where you lean. We're talking about our country.
Yeah.
The United States of America.
These United States.
Right.
Our
constitutional republic.
Yeah. Before we go there, let's do our tasting for today. You want to?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
So we had a listener request for a bourbon all the way from Japan.
Yes. This would be Woodford Reserve Double Oaked.
Mm-hmm.
And it is 45.2% alcohol by volume. And it is actually quite a pleasant drinking experience.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, we're enjoying this.
It's very dark. It's dark in color because of the double oaked. And we talked about that before we started recording, about how it's aged, however many years they age it, in a charred oak barrel. And then when it's done there, when it's at regular Woodford Reserve, then they take it out and put it into a new, fresh charred oak barrel.
Correct. And how long they do it, I don't know. And that's what makes it double oaked.
And you were saying that the alcohol in Woodford Reserve is consistent throughout every version of it, right?
Yes, and this was accidental. Earlier this week, I happened to try a new release from Woodford Reserve that was completely unrelated to what we're drinking today.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 45.2% alcohol by volume. And that I became curious because the one we're drinking today is also the same. So I asked to see the standard Woodford Reserve, and it also was 45.2%. So I have a feeling that what Woodford does, that's their thing. They want everything to be across the board, 45.2. And I think what they're doing is they're hydrating their bourbons to get them to where they need to be at that desired level.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily consistent flavor profile because each version of Woodford has a slightly different flavor profile.
Right.
But the consistency is in the alcohol volume.
Right. And so if you take that a step further, and you mentioned already that it is dark in color, which would automatically lead you to believe that it might be a longer aged bourbon. However, if you take it a step further than that and you look at what you were mentioning as the legs or the viscosity of the bourbon, and you tilt that glass to the side and you take it back down, there isn't much leg appeal along the side of the glass.
No, they go down pretty quick. So the drops on the side of the glass drop quicker.
Right. So this is actually a young bourbon, in my opinion.
Seems that way.
Until I'm proven wrong, I think it's a young bourbon.
Maybe one of our listeners could say something different.
Right. But that does not negate the flavor of what we're experiencing.
Mm-mm.
It is still good. And then as we were drinking it and we first opened it up and took our initial smell, the aromas, what were you picking up, Matt?
For me, it was fruits is what I think that's what I first start, like a raisin, dates. What did I write down here? Raisins, figs, and apricots.
Yeah, so you're leaning towards the pit fruits.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what I had wrote down.
Okay.
Which was astonishing, actually, because we never agree.
No, we don't.
Where we were probably different is on the aroma. I was picking up hints of banana and candied pecans.
I don't know if I've ever eaten candied pecan before, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I thought after I had a few drinks, it was more of almonds. This is what I was tasting and smelling.
Okay.
But then if I held the drink in my mouth and kind of let the alcohol burn off a little bit and kind of swish it around my whole mouth, it was very strong in corn.
And that makes a lot of sense because this particular bourbon, the Double Oaked Woodford Reserve, is actually 72% corn.
And that's called the mash bill, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I could also taste the rye, though. If you just take a drink and swallow that spiciness, and really the only spice I taste off of this, well, I guess it's not spice. The grain is a little bit of rye, but we were talking about spice, and we kind of agreed again when we talked about coffee and tobacco.
Correct.
And I was saying tea.
Yeah,
when you said coffee, I said, no, that's more accurate, coffee. And I wonder if that comes from the char a little bit, or maybe it's the sweetness in the oak, you think? Or what?
I don't know.
It could be the combination of everything, I guess.
The other things that I picked up were butterscotch and dark chocolate. Or if I went so far and did like a chocolate-covered cherry, maybe leaning that way versus just straight dark chocolate.
I could see chocolate-covered cherry. Dark chocolate to me would be a little bit bitter.
But it is a pretty dynamic bourbon. I like it. And it changes with every time I take a drink out of it.
Yeah, yeah. And if you let it sit in your glass for a while, it changes. This is, like I said, one of my favorites. This is one of my, this would be like a fancy bourbon to me. Because I don't spend money on the high dollar. I like the high dollar scotches more. I don't see much return on investment when you go more expensive than this Woodford or like a Jefferson's. They're kind of on the same level, right?
Yeah.
Is Jefferson's more expensive?
Yes.
It is? Oh.
They are, depending on which ones you're getting.
I prefer this over Jefferson's.
Well, okay, that sounds like a challenge.
All right. Maybe.
We might have to do Jefferson's Ocean or Rumcast or something. But cheers to our Japanese listeners who suggested that we try the Woodford Double Oak.
Yes, thank you very much for that suggestion. Very much appreciated. And we're using, Kevin, let's talk about this tool you got for us. The Bourbon Tasting Wheel.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So I think we're going to, I put my notes on it. I'm going to hang on to them. And we'll print out some new ones for next week because it really helped because you're kind of like, what is that I'm tasting? And then you kind of read through and you're like, no, it's not black pepper. It's not clove. Oh, herbal tea. I see. Yes, that's
right.
It.
The funny thing is as we do this is our fifth episode? Fifth?
Well, I think it'll be number 4. But
officially.
Yeah.
I should probably toss out there if you are familiar with the top 6 flavors that people mention when describing bourbon. Are you familiar with those?
No.
So the top 6 flavors that most people enter when they're talking about what a bourbon tastes like to them. They are oak, corn, cherry, black pepper, caramel, and brown sugar.
Oh, black cherry. Now that you say that chocolate-covered cherry, I'm like, oh, this might be more of a black cherry. like black cherry ice cream.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Cherry Garcia, ice cream.
Man, I love the Cherry Garcia. That's one of my favorites.
Sure is.
Holy cow!
Maybe that's what we're drinking. We're drinking Cherry Garcia Woodford Double Oaked.
Ooh. Speaking of listeners, I just checked. We had some new comments. We have Brittany commented on episode 0 saying, "Love this. Fantastic job, gentlemen. Thank you very much." And the Are You Ready podcast, she commented, "I love shoveling the driveway, so I threatened to fight my husband if he tried to help."
Thank you for the shout-outs, Brittany.
Thank you, Brittany. Thank you for listening. And hope you continue to comment and subscribe. All right, so we talked about our listeners in Australia. Did we say that? Australia
no, we didn't. We didn't call out our new listeners.
All right, let me go to the audience. We said Japan.
Yes.
Which is on the other, both are on the other side of the Pacific, so it's pretty close.
Mm-hmm. So we have 2 new international listeners this week coming out of Australia and Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And then we have 1 addition to our states, and that would be the great state of Massachusetts.
It's Commonwealth, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And they happen to be the epicenter of our momentous struggle for freedom from tyranny.
Yeah. So thank you very much for listening, everybody, across the country and across the Pacific. All right. I'm on my second page here. I'm going to put my pages down because it's loud.
Oh, I thought you were going to take another drink of your bourbon.
I will, actually. So we're going to talk about how great our country is, right? Obviously, we're biased because we're born and raised here. We both served this country, and we love it. I joined the military kind of out of spite to prove myself to my to my dad, and I wanted to jump out of airplanes and blow shit up. I thought Rambo, Commando, G.I. Joe. That's kind of the route I was going. Some people do. A lot of people do join out of patriotism.
I think that's where I was landing because I joined in 1988. So the United States military was on the covers of Newsweek, Time Magazine about their rebuilding and how they were so respected by the citizens of our country.
Yeah.
And that was the height of the Reagan era.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I enlisted during his last year as president.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I joined in 97, so it was just after the post-Gulf War drawdown, and we were still feeling the effects of that when I joined. Clinton was president. We had the Balkans happened in, 95, 96, the Bosnian War.
Mm-hmm.
97, it was still people rotating to Kosovo and Bosnia. Units were going over there. UN peacekeeping, I think it was, or it might have been NATO.
Yep.
So there wasn't much going on. I just thought I wanted to be an engineer, blow up bridges.
Yeah, it was a peaceful period.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, we had Mogadishu happen in 95 as well, right? Somalia. Was that 95 or 96?
No. That was earlier.
George Bush was president, I think.
No, Clinton was president.
Was it Clinton?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say that was 93 when Mogadishu happened.
You're right, because Clinton's second term was on his second term in 97. Yeah.
All I know is that when we were watching the inauguration, 2 things crossed my mind. It had nothing to do with who was being sworn in as president.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I get emotional because I am watching what is taking place, and that peaceful transition of power that happens every 4 to 8 years, and for nearly 250 years, our country has done this. And regardless of what your political beliefs are, we continue to follow those protocols, and they are so important.
Yeah.
And I am so proud of every single person who goes out and votes their conscience and then moves on with whoever is in charge at that time.
Yeah. Like, you still show up to work on Monday.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Right. And the other thing is during that entire day, into the evening, I was looking at every news source I can get my hands on, including worldwide news sources.
That was very interesting.
Yes. Well, what I found was that entire 18-hour period, there was no news of any kind of terrorist activity, riot, violence. It even seemed like the warfare started. And I kind of have the feeling that the entire globe just took a collective deep breath, kind of held it, and then had that slow exhale, and then went, you know what? I'm still standing here. Yeah. The world didn't end.
And we talked about this. That just shows how important America is to the world.
Yes.
No matter how much shit anybody talks about this country, they all look to us for leadership in the world. Whether we like it or not, right or wrong, everybody looks to us. And all eyes were on us Americans, because if you watch the news leading up to the inauguration, you would have thought we were on the verge of a civil war.
Mm-hmm. And somebody was going to take a shot at somebody. Someone was going to bust into something. None of that took place.
No. There was everybody just stopped and watched and held their breath. And then, okay. It's all everything's normal. Everything's okay.
Right. Which has been, to me, that's one of the phenomenal experiences for us to be citizens of this great country.
Yeah.
To know that. And it kind of reminds me of a toast that U.S. officers in the military used to give during formal dinners around the early 20th century. Their toast was, to our country, may she always be right, but right or wrong, to our country. And if you think about that, that is a beautiful thing to think of, is that right or wrong, we have that capability to correct rights or wrongs.
Yes.
But the bottom line is, our country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. And that's the way it should stay.
Yeah.
And that's how we should all be thinking.
Yes. Yeah, that was a note I wrote down was, even when we have so much ideological division amongst us Americans, our country still stays united. There's no balkanization. There's no, you kind of see that a little bit with people leaving California, going to Texas, and they're all kind of, people, like-minded people want to live amongst each other. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe that's why I moved to Missouri, part of it. But
you and half of the state of Illinois.
But we can still travel freely across the Mississippi River into Illinois without harassment, without having our papers checked. So we have a very unique experiment here in America, right? And you heard a lot of talk leading up to the inauguration about our democracy, whether our democracy is strong, our democracy is under attack, whatever, everywhere in between, depending on which side of the aisle was talking. And every time somebody would say that, my ears would kind of perk, like, hold on a second. What about our republic?
A constitutional republic.
We're a constitutional republic, right? So we wanted to talk a little bit about what a republic versus democracy is. Which are we? And why does it matter? I looked up in the Webster's Dictionary, republic. It means, according to the Webster's Dictionary, a state in which supreme power is held by the people and their elected officials, elected representatives, I should say, and which is an elected or nominated president rather than a monarch.
I would take that a step further and also mention that the rule of law is the foundation of what a republic would be. So in our case, that's why we call ourselves a constitutional republic.
Right.
Because regardless of what's going on around us, we still lean on the Constitution as our ultimate rule of law.
Yes. And that's why we have checks and balances.
Correct.
Between the executive, legislative, and judicial branch. No one branch is more powerful than the other. Some could argue it's getting a little out of whack.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a conversation we can have later today, maybe. A democracy, according to Webster's Dictionary, is a system of government by the whole population or all eligible members of a state, typically through elected representatives.
Right. So in that case, everything is a direct majority of the people's vote. Yes.
Which could be mob rule.
Or it certainly could.
Yeah. And we talked about the Roman Republic, how they were the Roman Republic ended in 47 BC. But Rome, the Roman Empire, that's when the Roman Empire started.
Who was that? Julius Caesar?
Augustus Caesar? Julius Caesar?
I think it was Julius Caesar.
And so he declared himself I forget what basically the number one citizen. I think it was something like that. And citizen to the Romans is a big deal if you're a citizen. So he said, I am the supreme citizen. I'm the king. I'm the ruler, the emperor. And thus started their downfall. Mm-hmm. So the Republic lasted almost 500 years.
Right.
Right.
And if you look before the Romans, you had the Greeks. The
right.
Greeks were a true democracy.
Yeah.
They didn't last that long.
No, it was civil war constantly.
Right. John Adams, I think, who was our second president, he summed it up pretty well. He said, remember, democracy never lasts long. It soon wastes, exhausts, and murders itself. There never was a democracy yet that did not commit suicide. And that's accurate to this day.
Yeah, that is true. So you have different forms of government that, like the Canadians and the English, have their parliamentary republic style. It's a very strange thing where the parliament elects the prime minister. Is that right?
Yeah, and then they start to present themselves to royalty, the king or queen.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the most important part. So I wrote down here a short answer is that democracy and republic are frequently used to mean the same thing: a government in which the people vote for their leaders. It's an important distinction at the time of the founding because, in direct contrast to the king, they wanted to make sure this was uniquely American, separate from the king, not a monarchy. We came close, though, didn't we? Some people wanted George Washington to be our monarch.
Yes.
And thankfully, Washington said hell no. Thankfully.
Right.
Because he could have said yes, and he had the military behind him. He could have made it happen if he wanted to. Let's see. During around the time of the American Revolution, democracy and republic were used interchangeably until in like the late 1700s. Both words meant that the power to govern was held by the people rather than the monarch, and that's why we have a government by the people, for the people, and of the people, which is very unique in the world. Everybody wants to. They say they want to be free. And the way to do it, and the only way that's worked for the last 250 years, is a republic.
Yes. I found one of the interesting things I came across in my notes is that when you're going and defining the republic, it is the highest form of government devised by man. And there are other categories. If you neglect maintaining the importance of the republic, it can slide into a democracy.
Yeah.
It can slide into an anarchy, slide into an oligarchy, slide into dictatorship. And I found it interesting, and this is my only political statement I'm going to make, is that since the inauguration on Monday, here we are on Saturday, and I've already seen it in headlines that the term oligarchy, which is a government run by a small council or a group of elite individuals, is being attributed to the Trump administration.
Which is
right.
Crazy.
Now, a couple congressmen have already called this out and said, use this term. And I will say this, that if you are crying foul and calling our presidency currently an oligarchy, then what I am telling you is that you have been unwilling in your term as a congressman to reclaim your authority in your branch of government under our established Constitution.
Yep.
And take back some of the powers that you all, over the years, have given to the president.
Absolutely correct.
Because the president has more power today than he's had 50 years ago, and that's because Congress is unwilling to step up and take charge when they needed to take charge. And so instead, they've turned that power over to the president. So if you look today and you think that we're getting closer and closer to an oligarchy or a dictatorship, it's because our members of Congress have not stood up and said, we are senators and congressmen, and our branches are equal. Yeah. Why are we giving so much power to the president? That's the only thing I'm going to say.
We talked about how our Congress used to be elected. It has changed over the years.
It has.
And do you want to talk about that a little bit? You're more well-versed on it than me.
Yeah, so as far as our U.S. congressmen, our state representatives, U.S. representatives, that is the same. They're elected by the people every 2 years. That is still the same.
Yeah.
What has changed is our senators. Our senators still maintain a 6-year term of service. However, up until 1913, when the 7th Amendment of the Constitution took effect, senators were never elected by the people. They were elected by their state legislators. So what happened was we suddenly made it the democratic form of government and took something away from the U.S. Constitution and started to turn it more into a democracy versus a republic. But what happened was now is you have these senators who are supposed to be representatives of their state who are now campaigning and leaning towards policymakers or people, influencers.
Special influence, yes.
Yes, in order to get elected and maintain that influence in the Senate. There was a time when the U.S. legislatures nominated and voted for the senators. What that did is those senators were beholden to the state they represented.
Yep.
And so states' rights versus federal.
They were regularly recalled, weren't they?
They sure were. Yeah. If you did not uphold what the state believed in, you were taken back and they put somebody else in their place.
Yeah.
I think that, again, we had a stable form of government, and we still do today.
Oh, yeah.
However, we are still leaning more towards the democratic version of our republic, and so they're in conflict with one another.
Yeah, yeah. And who ratified the 7th Amendment?
I don't know which states did it because it's 3/4 of the states in order to make it happen, but it occurred right at or after Woodrow Wilson became president.
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit, that you don't hate Woodrow Wilson enough, listeners.
Right.
That's my political statement.
Right.
He's a son of a bitch.
Right. So we're going to end our politics here.
Yep.
And enjoy the rest of the show.
I wanted to, the etymology of the word democracy comes from the Greek roots, meaning rule by the people. And the most basic understanding of the word's original meaning refers to the direct democracy of ancient Greece. Republic comes from the Latin roots, meaning public good or public affair, used in ancient Rome to mean simply state or country, with reference to the representative democracy of the Roman Republic. This says, they talk about how the representatives in Congress are the contemporary example of this kind of government, but it's slipped a little, to use your word from earlier, that with that 7th Amendment to the Constitution.
Right. Still in all, the beauty is that we still have a constitutional republic, and it has withstood the test of time in our darkest days and even on our brightest moments.
Yeah.
And in moments of anarchy experienced in the public, moments of, if you look at President Nixon being forced to resign to avoid impeachment, and you go on and on. Our republic still stands.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of our country.
So did you know that democracy, the word democracy and republic were not mentioned in the Declaration of Independence?
I did not.
But it does express clearly that the government should be established deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. So that should be in the forefront of every decision they make. Is this what the people who elected me to be here would want?
Right. And that's, you know what? That's common sense.
Yeah.
And I think we're...
common sense. Who wrote that?
That would be, was that Adam Smith?
Thomas Paine.
Thomas Paine.
He wrote a book called Common Sense.
What was Adam Smith? What did he write?
He was economics.
Yeah.
The
same time period.
Wasn't it like The Hidden Hand of... I can't remember. He was an economist, I believe.
Have another drink.
Trying to remember from back in college. Let's see. The term republic is used as an adjective in the Constitution. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government. The union part of that is very important. Every state in this union. When somebody says, like, you know, the United States is just one big country. Yeah, sort of, but not really. We are independent states who have agreed to be in this union together. And that's very, very, very unique. Nobody forced us to do this, right? Mostly.
I mean, yes, we all agreed to do that.
Yeah.
But there was one time when several states said, you know what, we don't want to be part anymore.
Yeah, that's another president you don't hate enough.
Which one is that?
Lincoln.
Oh, I like Lincoln.
All right.
Ooh. Okay.
We'll talk about that some more. Not because, well, I don't want to get into it. I'm not pro-slavery. Let's just put it that way. But Lincoln went about it the wrong way. He used slavery as an issue.
Oh, that wasn't until later.
Yeah. Right.
This war...
It was about
if you take the southern version of this war, it was about states' rights.
States' rights. But everybody had different currencies back then. And the South had more money. Well, because they had cheap labor. Individually, more money in individuals.
Oh, we need to save some conversation. I need to do some research on this one.
The North had more industrial power. The South had more agricultural power.
Mm-hmm.
So they were kind of holding each other hostage using different currencies. We'll talk about it later. I don't have all my notes in front of me. Let me get studied back up on it.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, well, I did spend the last 18 years in South Carolina, so maybe I've been indoctrinated.
I know the only difference I know between the North and the South, besides slavery that you mentioned, is that the railroad gauges were different.
Well, you know, Baltimore was where all the ships were built. Maryland was a part of the Confederacy. It's not very far south, is it?
No.
But it was part of the Confederacy. So it wasn't really about North and South. It was economics and labor.
Anyway.
Thankfully, slavery ended as a result. Thankfully.
Yes.
And one of our greatest one of the greatest men who became a president, was not a very good president, was an amazing man. We talked was Ulysses Grant.
Yes.
And he was the first one to use black soldiers to let them enlist in his army to fight against the North.
He fought hard. He fought hard for equal rights.
Yeah.
Really did. He really did. Do the research.
Yeah. He was a great man. He made some very poor decisions as president. He allowed people to influence his decisions who didn't have the right motives.
Yeah. He was a true emancipator.
Yeah. He was, legit. He knew these people, these are human beings. They want to fight for their freedom. I'm going to let them fight and we're going to win.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great man.
We're getting way off topic.
Not really.
Because I don't know.
Our government, we were at that time, our country split apart.
Yep.
That was the only time. And it's a horrific period of time in our country where, I don't know how many, millions of people died. Americans fighting each other, right? Cousins fighting each other. Looking back in my family tree, I have relatives who fought on both sides, ancestors who fought on both sides here in Missouri.
Yeah, I want to say that the death rate was around 600,000.
600,000? Okay.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, 600,000.
Oh, I know.
That's the most casualties ever in any American war, right? By far. That's just horrific. And what was the first battle where the people went out, like, picnicked and watched? Bull Run?
Manassas.
Manassas.
The first Battle of Manassas.
Yeah. And then they were horrified because that was the first modern war with rifled barrels and artillery pieces and cavalry, but they still used swords and bayonets at the same time.
Right. And the Union walked out thinking it was a parade, and the South said, no.
Yeah, snipers. Yeah, terrible, terrible, terrible time in our country.
All I know is today we all should be counting our blessings to be considered a citizen of this country.
Oh, yeah. I actually, me and Caitlin were talking about that last night or 2 nights ago. She said, you should talk about, you say all the time how fortunate you feel to be just born in this country. You're just born on this piece of soil, and I'm an American. It's incredible. I have, like, the immigration stuff that's going on. Yeah, of course. People want to. If I didn't live here, I would do everything I could to get here, to raise my family here. And I don't blame them one bit. But we are a nation of laws, and our Constitution is what rules our land, not the president, not the Congress, and not the Supreme Court. It's the Constitution. It's their jobs to uphold that Constitution.
Right. We have a formal way for immigrants to become legal citizens of this country.
It needs to be streamlined. It needs to be fixed. The process is insane.
Right. But we do have a way.
There is a way.
Right.
I think I have a better way. But maybe I don't know if now's the time to talk about that or not.
No.
But I have a better way to streamline it. I could do it. Give me a call, Trump. I'll hook you up.
I will say this, that whatever our goals, and this is the thing, you think about, we want to complain all day long. The bottom line is that whatever our goals in life, we still live in a country where we have the freedom to achieve them.
Yeah.
Some of us are looking for a leg up and wanting the government to look after them and support them. That's not the intent of our government.
No.
But we have plenty of opportunity to take advantage of what the government offers.
Oh, yeah.
To live the American dream. And whatever that dream is, the dream is different for every person.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Exactly.
Not happy. You're not guaranteed happiness.
Right.
You can pursue it, though.
Exactly.
Just as long as you're not hurting anybody else in the process.
So cheers to the United States.
Cheers to the U.S. Good old U.S. of A. What else you got in your notes there? I'm all done.
Already?
I'm ready to let the booze take charge here.
Okay. Well, I know that, it was a couple episodes ago. We talked about our goals for the year.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do a little update. I mean, we're just coming up to the last week of the month of January. And, I know that my goal was to get through 2025 in calm waters. And that is a very convoluted statement. Like, how do you know that you're going to get through in calm waters? And, some of my details were, number one, when it comes to finance, I want to get through this year debt-free.
All right.
Debt-free as of January 2025. Now, I have a mortgage, but all other debt is gone.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you very much. That's not easy to get to.
No.
But let me tell you, every single person should be working to get debt-free.
Oh, yes.
I can't stand the argument that says, there's good debt and bad debt, or how to leverage debt.
Oh, dude.
No. Do it the right way and just get out of debt.
Yeah. What does the Bible say? The debtor is slave to the lender.
Exactly. So debt free. So I've already hit that goal in January. I want to maintain that goal through the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. Personal, I want to make sure that I outlast everyone around me. Mm. Now, I'm not saying I want to outlive you, that kind of thing. What I am saying is, when it comes to endurance, I want to be the last man standing. I'm the guy on top of the mountain.
You want to be the tenacious one.
Yes. And so when I look at that and I think about my fitness, those kinds of experiences, I'm not there trying to bulk up, cut muscle, do those kinds of things.
Yeah.
My goal is to take and mimic life experiences.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So if I can sit down in the chair and stand up without assistance, if I can pick up a case of water or a case of paper and carry it to a certain distance, or like you mentioned in one of our episodes, if you're falling flat on your face, can you get up without using your hands?
Yeah.
Can I run or walk at a very quick pace to get out of a dangerous situation?
Yeah.
Those kinds of things, mimicking life circumstances. Okay. If I can do that, I'm successful.
Nice.
So those are my big goals for the year.
How's it going so far?
So far, so good. No complaints. If I'm taking that 1% rule and applying it into my life, I'm going to make it through 2025 in calm waters.
Have you been tempted to go against what your goals are?
Not yet.
No?
No, not yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was like immediate temptation.
Was it the drinking of alcohol during the week? Because you said you're only going to drink it during the podcast.
I did quit beer. I've had, well, that's a lie. I had 3 beers at a concert, 3 stouts, because I didn't want to drink whiskey and get, shit-faced.
Right.
So I was like, I'll just drink beer and get less intoxicated at this.
Did you feel bloated afterwards? This is why I don't drink beer anymore.
No, it was the local brewery, Citywide. They have a stout. It's very light. It's not like a heavy stout that sits in your stomach like a stew or something. It was good. It was a good light beer. And I had 3 beers throughout the course, from dinner. We went to Blueberry Hill, had dinner, I had a beer. And then I had 2 more downstairs during the concert, opening act and main. And it was cool. Drank some water. Good to go.
Nice.
I was able to control myself, keep the wolf man inside. Yeah, my goals are, I wrote, remember, continue and maintain. Continue on my path. Maintain what I have. Don't go backwards. And calm and settle. I'm going to be calmed and settled and slow down and enjoy my life. Take my time. Don't go full throttle and then let off the gas, which was what I've tended to do in the past, is hit it really hard in the beginning and then take my foot off the gas and coast.
What was that Latin phrase I used early on?
What was it?
Festina lente.
Yeah.
Make haste slowly.
Make haste slowly. So to me, that means stay focused on the objective and take careful steps, but always move forward. Move forward. Mm-hmm. Continue to get healthier, both physically and mentally. My fitness journey has taken a backseat to the new puppy, because I get up at 4:30 in the morning and let the puppy out, and then I feed the puppy, and then I let the puppy out again, and then I make coffee, and then I let the puppy out again. Because I don't want to leave a dog behind for my wife to have to take care of pooping on the floor or whatever. And I can be like, well, it was either that or do some push-ups. So I chose myself over you.
So did you shift your workouts to the evening after work, or?
Kevin, I work so hard during the day. I'm just exhausted when I get home from work. It's really tough.
So what about what you do during the day? Like, you have a desk, you have a bench nearby or a chair. Mm-hmm. So there's plenty of workouts you can do at your desk or even out in your environment.
So this is...
we have plenty of material in our environment that you can be doing some serious workouts with.
Here's the excuse I've been giving myself, and this is a failure on my part. It's 7 degrees outside. I'm going to hang out in the office today. That's an excuse.
Ouch.
And these are in my journal, I have a daily journal that I write down my morning goals to achieve, my afternoon goals to achieve, and my evening goals. So that's how far I break it down. And this is a quarterly notebook that I have. For the past 2 weeks, I've written fail on every single page. That's it.
I like your honesty.
Just fail. I just failed. But the things I have been succeeding on are my financial goals. I've been taking my vitamins every single day and it's a fistful of vitamins. Have you seen me take my vitamins before?
Never.
It's a fistful of vitamins that I take.
I take 3. And
I drink nearly a gallon of water a day. And I've been eating healthy. I think me and Caitlin, we went to McDonald's one day because I haven't had McDonald's for like over 10 years. I was like, man, I'm just craving a McDonald's cheeseburger and fries right now. And it was glorious.
Oh, you were McLovin' it?
I was McLovin' it. It was great.
Kudos to my daughter, Samantha.
There you go. Shout out, Samantha. But you know what? It wasn't that. I didn't look at that like I was failing myself. It was, maybe a reward or I knew it was a one-off thing. I'm not going to be eating McDonald's every day because it's just poison.
Interesting thing is I read an article just this morning that I passed on to the family, and it was talking about our overall health.
Yeah.
And this particular doctor has been challenging what we hear every day about weight loss, body fat content, the types of food we eat, mm-hmm. our alcohol intake, etc. And his career has been challenging those concepts.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he learned and released in more than one study, and it's corroborated by several, is that worry and anxiety is worse on our body than whether or not I'm going to eat a pizza mm-hmm. or drink a meal shake.
Yeah.
And he's got lots of evidence on this. And he said, you know what? If you want to have a bourbon, have your bourbon.
Yeah.
Don't go crazy on it.
Don't drink a whole bottle.
Right. But have your bourbon. Mm-hmm. And he said the worry and the anxiety creates different chemical imbalances in the body that is worse.
Cortisol.
Than doing what it is that you thought you should do. Happiness was number one out of everything.
Yep. I think I would add having a purpose, too, is a purpose. Who wrote that book, Purpose Driven Life?
Oh, that was Warren.
Yeah, that was a great book.
I don't remember his first name, but Warren was...
John? Was it John?
No.
I don't know. I think I have it up on my bookshelf. This is a great book.
It is.
But it's a great idea, too. Having a purpose, whatever your purpose is. Anything, raising your children, growing a garden. If you really want to maintain a garden and grow great vegetables and that's your thing, you're going to do whatever else you need to do in your life to make sure you can get back out in that garden.
Rick Warren. That's who it was.
Yeah.
The very first sentence of the book, it's not about you.
It's not about you. Nah. Was that book written for men?
No.
No?
No.
Men, it's not about you.
The Purpose Driven Life was a faith-based book.
It is, yeah.
Yes.
That brings me to my other goal. Church.
Yes.
Faith. Well, those are different. So finding a church. We've been having very thoughtful and deep discussions about church versus religion versus faith, what that means to us as a couple, as a husband and wife and our family. Caitlin and I have two very different upbringings when it comes to the religions that we were raised in. I'm a Catholic. She was raised Mormon. And we're talking about where are we now? What do we believe? How does that translate into a church that we attend? Is there a church out there for us to And these are very great discussions. We haven't gone to church yet because we're still talking. These are probably conversations we should have had before we were married. I would recommend, if you're dating and looking for a spouse, to have these conversations before you're married. But I wasn't in the place I'm in now when me and Caitlin met. She wasn't in the place she's in now. And our union, our marriage, the oath that we swore to each other, the vows that we took, have brought us to here where we're at today. And I'm thankful for that. And our conversations have been hard sometimes, hurtful sometimes, offensive sometimes, but we always grow from them. And the other goal I had was to be a better husband and a leader of my family. And I feel like those discussions need to be had out of love and from a place of leadership for my family. So I'm adding a damn dog. I am adding to my goals for 2025, be a better husband and leader of my family. I'm going to write, be a more loving husband.
Very noble.
Because sometimes my words are harsh and I am not as loving as I could be.
Can I challenge you a moment?
Sure.
So I had written down from my notes, one of the things that was for my goal was to have a realistic approach to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 7. Can I read it to you?
1 Corinthians
13, verses 4 through 7. If you want to punch in the gut,
okay,
take that verse and replace the words love and it with your name and see what that does for you.
Okay.
So, for instance, for me, I'm going to put my name in this.
Okay.
Kevin is patient. Kevin is kind. Kevin does not envy. He does not boast. He is not proud. Kevin is not rude. He is not self-seeking. He is not easily angered. He keeps no record of wrongs. Kevin does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. Kevin always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres.
Oof.
If you want a true kick in the nads, read that out and put your name in there instead of the word love and the word it, and then see where you can really apply yourself to make yourself a better person.
Kevin, what would you just say to somebody who is not where you and I are at, where we are, we're willing to hold ourselves personally accountable, right? If something goes wrong in my household, the first thing I look at is me.
Mm-hmm.
So if a bill doesn't get paid, whatever, the gutters aren't cleaned out, whatever it may be, even if my wife runs out of gas, it's my fault. And this is where we're at, right? Mm-hmm. Based off, I think our life experiences has brought us here. Is there a prerequisite to that, you think? That's a hard word for me to say for some reason. Prerequisite to, somebody could say that and feel like I'm being too hard on myself. Is there such a thing?
Yes. And I think that's the whole point. Is, again, a couple episodes we talked about being a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And achieving perfection. We're not going to do either. So stop being a perfectionist and work towards perfection, which you will not achieve on this planet.
Nope.
However, that is the goal that we should be shooting for.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take what I just said and work at applying it towards yourself.
What was the first line again?
Well, the first line of the verse is, love is patient, love is kind.
Matt is patient, Matt is kind. That doesn't say Matt is patient with everybody else but himself.
Exactly.
So
that is such a challenge.
Yeah. We talked about this, about the 1% rule, getting 1% better every day. Get 1% more patient with yourself every day. Be forgiving. You cannot forgive other people unless you forgive yourself.
Right. You have to start having some self-awareness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a huge... There's so many people that go through this life that have no idea about the impact that they're having on the others around them.
Right.
Right? We've seen that in the military with crappy leadership who are just there to pad their resume to get that promotion.
And get that medal.
Right. And they do not care how many bodies are filling up the body bags. They do not care how many lower enlisted soldiers do not re-enlist because they say, man, F that CO or that first sergeant.
Right. Humility. I mean, really, humble yourself. If again, this comes out of the Bible, but it is real. Yeah. If you walk into a room because you have a certain position in the company you're working in or something, and you think you should be walking and that seat up in the front of the building or the front of the room is yours, how embarrassing that would be that if you sit there and then your boss walks in with someone else and says to you, Matt, I need you to move back because that seat belongs to whoever just walked in.
Yeah.
Don't ever put that in your head.
No, that'll crush your ego.
It sure will.
Do more damage than good. Do you think that men can find humility without being humbled by something else?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yes.
So they don't need some event to happen in their life that brings them to their knees, so to speak?
No, that's a hard question.
Oh, yeah.
That's almost like having your desert experience.
Yeah. Explain. Go further.
Well, I think every man needs to experience that point in their life when nothing is right and they're still trying to figure out who they are as a man. And that's kind of what that desert experience is.
The test.
Yes. And it could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be spectacular or elaborate.
No.
But it is that test that you mentioned that will define who you are moving forward.
Yeah.
Are you going to embrace it, stand up, and take a stand, or are you going to run away with your tail between your legs? Because you know what? Either way, if you stand up for it or if you run away from it, that is going to wear on your mind for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You will always recall it.
Yes.
I could tell you several things in my life in which I could have gone one way and went another.
Take the path less traveled.
Yes.
Yeah, there's been plenty of times in my life, too, where I've taken the easy road, and nothing good comes from it. That's the whole, like the Marine Corps has the crucible.
Mm-hmm.
The Army, we did the same thing. It was just a final field problem. It wasn't that hard.
No, it wasn't the equivalent of the crucible, I'll say that. No.
So I thought, OSIT training, one station, this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Then I got to my actual unit, and I was, oh my God, it was like, it wasn't you need to do this. It was unspoken. I knew I was lacking. I knew I was not carrying my weight, and it was a test for me to get better, get stronger, get faster, be better.
Right.
It's a different timeline for everybody. Some people go through their crucible when they're children, unfortunately. Some people have to go through a crucible multiple times to actually realize, hey, I should probably be learning from something from this experience.
That would be me.
Yeah?
I mean, I can identify, we'll save it, but I can identify 1, 2, 3. I can identify 3 times in my life in which I went through the crucible.
Okay.
And the outcome was still the same.
Let's call it the desert. I don't want to get the Marines too much credit. They're already cocky enough.
Oh, yeah. The desert. I've gone through 3 separate desert experiences in my life. All triggered differently.
Yeah.
All with different outcomes, but all with one purpose. And that was to make me a better person.
Yeah, okay.
And not to be egotistical or narcissistic. To be a better man.
Yeah. And, I've probably been through more. I'm pretty stubborn, pretty slow to learn, quick to pay the price type of guy. I think one of the big triggering events for me was my divorce. And then I was wandering in the desert after that for a few years. And it took me a while, man. I've had stages of growth. I don't think men or people can go from 0 to 100 in one leap. No. Unless you're like a lightning strike. But I really don't think that happens. I really don't. I don't believe it. Some people are, if you're born, your father's a billionaire, you're going to have your struggles in life where you're going to have to figure things out. It's just different degrees of struggle, different struggles, I should say, not degrees, different struggles. And, I wouldn't, that question of like, if you could go back in time, would you change anything? Ever change it? I would not change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing because I wouldn't be the man I am today.
Exactly.
And I wouldn't have met Caitlin. I wouldn't be I wouldn't be the man that she needs. Sometimes I'm not the man she needs. But the fact that I'm conscious of that I can recognize that and say, man, I fell short today. I need to do better tomorrow.
But are you the man that you need?
Yeah. It's huge, man. That concept of servant leadership always comes back to me. Almost daily, I think about it. Being a servant is the best way to be a leader.
Exactly.
And it's lonely. I was a leader in the Army. I was a leader in the fire service. It's a lonely road, man.
Right. I remember moving up just on the corporate side, right, of my career. And I remember one time one of my mentors told me, he said, you're going to get to a point in your career in which the amount of positive feedback you receive is going to decline to almost 0.
Yeah.
And you need to understand how to accept that.
Man, it's scary, right? Being a leader. It's scary. You better be comfortable in your boots.
Right. One of my best pictures of leadership was John F. Kennedy during the Cuban Missile Crisis that was taken of him in the Oval Office. It was him by himself. And he was just standing at his desk leaning against it in thought. And, at that point, what's going on in his mind? Because the decisions he's about to make can affect the entire world.
Yeah, we're talking about.
And having all that on your shoulders, that is quite a position to be in.
And that kind of comes around full circle to our original conversation is about how great this country is, and how important this experiment in liberty is. Our government that we have chosen, how important it is to respect the institution of the office. Throughout my lifetime, every single president has had some sort of crisis like that, right? Even whether we know about it or not.
Right.
There's been a lot that's unspoken that we don't know about. That is like, oh man, we're on the brink of complete global annihilation.
Well, it kind of also reminds me of that scene from the series Band of Brothers. Mm-hmm. You salute the rank, you don't salute the man.
Yeah. So there's respect the office of the president, even though you don't respect the man in the office. That's understandable. I get it, man. I get it.
Right.
If you have to say that out loud, though, if you're the man in the office and you have to say it out loud, you're failing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I want to tell a story. I don't really talk about my time in the fire service much. Right? I don't tell a lot of stories because I feel I'm bragging a lot. And I don't like that. I don't. But when I became an officer, I was a lieutenant, but I was an acting captain. I was in charge of an engine company.
Are you acting or are you in charge?
I'm in charge.
Okay.
But I was the rank I was filling was a captain, right? I was just getting paid as lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew from my experience as we call it a tailboard fireman, somebody who rides in the back and your job is just to fight fire. You carry the nozzle or whatever, do the grunt work. And I knew from my time as being a lower enlisted man, watch your leaders and you can look at them and say, that's a good thing. This is a bad. I want to be the good. I'm going to do the good. I want to avoid the bad. Right. I've spent many times wandering through the woods because my squad leader had no idea what he was doing. And I'm just carrying a 95-pound rucksack, dying, thinking, I really hate this SOB. I'm never going to be like this when I grow up. People use their fathers as example too. I want to be just like my dad when I grow up. Some people are like, I am not going to be like that man. Right. So I thought I want to be the captain that I would want to follow into a fire. Right. The very last fire I fought in the fire service was a fatal fire. I woke up at 3 a.m. thinking about this fire just this morning. And this happened 4 years ago. Maybe 4 years ago. And I remember distinctly standing in the front yard of this house that's three-fourths of it was on fire. And I knew somebody was inside. One of the resident was inside. And I had to send my guys in there to go search the unburnt side while I stood in the yard by myself and sent them in there. So sending people into harm's way, if you're not prepared for that moment, holy cow. I thought, I was prepared. We were prepared. We trained every single day because I knew that day was coming. We trained every day, every shift we trained. And, but there is a moment of doubt in your mind. Are we ready for this?
Right.
And, it's a weird feeling, man. It's so strange. I never led soldiers into combat. I can only imagine the amount of stress leading soldiers into combat, of what you're thinking, what you're feeling. And I'll tell you right now, if you don't have those feelings of doubt, if you don't have that fear in you, you're failing.
Right.
You're not ready.
Right.
It's the strangest thing, and it still wakes me up every once in a while. I think about it, that this person died in their house. And I have that, did we do enough feeling? Did I make the right decisions? What if one of my guys would have died in there? What if they all died? But it was the right decision to make, to go in there and search. I went in and searched by myself, which is completely against doctrine. I went in that front door by myself and searched a room that was on fire, looking for this woman. And I missed her by 2 feet where she was. I missed her. That's what keeps me up, because I went right instead of left.
But at the same time, you went in.
Yes.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you could have just stood out there.
I could have. I would have been right. I would have been right to stand in the yard and be in command. And I was the incident commander. I had a lot to think about. Water supply. We didn't have any hydrants nearby. I had to coordinate water shuttling from a hydrant down the road. Mm-hmm. Luckily, my engineer, we had trained on this. And I could say, you handle the water shuttling. I need to focus on rescue. And he did it. He did a great job. My men that went in that window, they broke in a window, put a ladder up, broke in the window, went in and searched this room. They did exactly as we trained.
And that's the leadership. Well, that's the leadership we need.
Yeah.
We need that. Well, we need it forever, and we need it more now than ever.
Yes.
If I'm, we have a generation of people, when something is happening right in front of them, they would rather whip out their phone and film it so they can get lots of hits on their website or their podcast, or not their podcast, but TikTok, Instagram, whatever. And when they could have just put down that phone and made a difference.
Yeah.
And that's disheartening.
Yeah, and this comes back to our original conversation again about this country. There was a moment in time when this country was at a crisis point. Many moments. But the original moment where men decided to act when they could have just gone along with their lives. Like John Adams, you mentioned earlier. He could have just went on being a successful lawyer and ignored what was going on in Boston. But he didn't. He felt compelled he had to act.
For a cause in which most of the people who participated never got paid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, think about that.
Mm-hmm.
The cause meant more to them than the benefits they thought they would get.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It is. It's remarkable, actually. And here we are today. And I'm so grateful that we live in a country as beautiful as ours.
Yeah. And we can have this conversation right now without our door getting kicked in and us getting thrown into gulag.
Right. Right.
Right? I mean, that's unique in the world.
Yes, it is.
Unfortunately.
And when we're finished, we can walk out. We can walk down the street. We can say hi to a neighbor.
Yeah.
Hello to a stranger. And it all goes back to what I said before. You know what? I'm speaking to the men. Open the door for someone.
Yes.
If someone's pushing a cart back to the stable, the corral, right there in the parking lot, and you're walking in, why don't you just take the cart?
Yeah, you're going to get a cart anyway.
Right. Just take the cart. You just save somebody a trip.
Mm-hmm.
It's the small things. And the small things matter.
They absolutely do. Small things add up to big things.
Yes.
And
they're going to affect you personally. Because when you do that, you're going to walk by, or you're going to think about that and go, man, I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah. Call it whatever you want. You can call it karma. Go ahead. Whatever, man. Build up your karma. Bank.
Right.
Whatever, dude. Do it. And we're men. We speak more to men in this podcast. And I'm okay with that. Somebody has to do it. There's a lot of fake men out there trying to do these podcasts that I've seen, and I'm like, what the hell is he talking about?
Right, let's get real.
Like, this is bullshit, man. I heard somebody talking about the cartels being labeled as a terrorist organization, and now special forces are going to go in and whatever, dude. People have this weird, grandiose idea of what special forces operators look like. They're going to look like what you see on TV, these guys with six-pack abs and pecs.
I know plenty of them in my life, and they look like you and me.
Yeah. Bald-headed dudes with hairy shoulders.
And a dad gut.
And a gut. And you better be careful around those guys. Yeah, man. Masculinity is not on the outside. It's not how you dress. It's not the jewelry, the watch you wear, or the car you drive. That is not masculine. That's feminine. That's feminine. Masculinity is what we've been talking about here today. Doing the hard things. Take the road less traveled. Be a leader. Be a servant before you're a leader. I've always said too, if you're laying your head down on your pillow at night and you don't have regrets, you haven't lived your life. More importantly, you should have learned from those mistakes, learn from those regrets, and adjust course and do better next time.
Right. Push through it.
Yeah.
Just do it, as Nike says.
Yeah. Grow. Move forward. 1% better. We've said, these are things that we've been saying since episode 0. And who am I to say these things? Nobody. I'm nobody. You don't have to listen to me. Talk to yourself, man. Do some inward searching.
Right.
Talk to your wife. Love your wife. Your wife will tell you everything. If she really loves you, she'll tell you the truth, and it's going to hurt.
And it's not even about marriage.
No.
I mean, yeah, we're talking to our audience, but you know what? Love your family. Love your sisters. Be the big brother you're supposed to be.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, you should be protecting. You should be the chief protector in your family of your siblings. Keeping them out of harm's way, giving them the hard truth, letting them know how other boys may or may not react to whatever it is they're doing. Have the open conversation.
Yeah. Be vulnerable.
Yes.
That's the hardest thing for us. Push your ego to the side and be vulnerable.
Yes.
That's really tough, man.
We said a lot in this last hour.
Yeah. But thank God we live in America where we can say it.
Right.
The greatest country on earth. It always will be. You want to close us out, Kevin?
Well, first off, with the Woodford Double Oak that we've been enjoying, which Matt just popped the cork on for a little bit more. What does double oaked mean? We kind of briefly mentioned it, but double oaked means that the bourbon is originally aged in a barrel, a virgin oak barrel that's charred, which means that the inside is seared, to get that char.
Yeah, they use a torch to burn it, right?
Yes. And then it ages, in this case, I'm going to say that it probably aged for 2 years because that's the minimum on a bourbon. And then it immediately went into another virgin oak barrel to finish it off. And I think the reason why Woodford did it in this case, and Woodford can contact me and prove me wrong and provide a bottle.
Yeah, sponsor the show.
Yes. Is that they were doing a couple of things. You could keep it in the same barrel and age it longer.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the same time, you're trying to, number one, speed up the process. And number two, you're trying to get a different flavor profile.
Yeah, they want to separate themselves from what everybody else is doing.
Yes.
Which is, normally they would age it longer in the same barrel.
Right. So if you put it in the second barrel, then you're immediately getting the reaction from another virgin barrel.
Fresh charcoal.
Exactly. That you got on the first one that is teaming up on the original pour.
Yeah.
And then so you get what you get. And that's what makes it good, I think. Like we mentioned, you got the darker color than normal, but the viscosity is a little bit lower. So you understand that it's still a young bourbon as far as age goes. Mm-hmm. But the flavor profile is surprisingly dynamic.
It is.
There's a lot there.
Yeah, dynamic is the good word for it because it changes on each sip.
Yes. And it sits out, it changes. Mm-hmm. You pour it again, it changes. Which is quite amazing when it comes to a bourbon.
Good job, Woodford Reserve.
Yes. But I would like to close it out. So, we were talking about the inauguration earlier. Mm-hmm. And then we're talking about our goals for 2025. Also, on Monday was us celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s holiday.
Yeah.
I don't know if
it's his birthday.
Was it his birthday?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd close it out with a quote that Martin Luther King Jr. said when he gave a speech at a high school back in 1967.
Awesome.
And it kind of ties into our goals. And that is, if you can't be a highway, I'm sorry. Let me start over. be a bush if you can't be a tree.
Mm.
If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be a sun, be a star. For it isn't by size that you win or fail. Be the best of whatever you are.
Wow.
And if you take that and stew on that a little bit.
Yeah, dissect that one.
Right, personally, but also apply it to the environment you're in, the people you interact with, the world you live in, the country you live in. If you take that, I'm telling you, this country, this world would be so much better.
Yeah. Man. We could do a whole other show on that.
We can do a whole show on Martin Luther King.
We could talk for 24 more hours, probably.
Yes.
As long as we don't run out of Woodford Reserve. All right. I think we're going to call it a day.
Yeah. I appreciate you, Matt. This was a great discussion.
Thank you, Kevin, for joining me in this project. This is really fun. And I only almost cried twice, which is cool.
I would like to once again mention that you can comment directly on our podcast.
Please do.
Or you can send us an email at showmemk@gmail.com.
Yep.
And you can find us on Spotify, Amazon, and Audible.
Yep.
And on Facebook, because on Facebook we're going to put out more information than we normally do through our podcast.
Yep.
And you'll find us on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it.
X,
right.
Since Elon is part of the oligarchy now, we have to call it X.
Right. Thanks to our listeners.
Thank you guys very, very, very much for listening. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. We'll see you next week with another episode, and we'll probably put some teasers out there on Facebook and X. And that's it. Goodbye.